Flash Gordon.
Titanic.
Right now? Grease.
The Lion King. I love that.
If you think they're talking about their favourite films, you can guess again. They're talking about their favourite music from films. Songs from films such as Jaws, Star Wars, and The Great Escape are etched into the minds of old and young fans alike. Celine Dion's track for the Titanic sold more than 15 million copies and is synonymous with the film. We caught up with music production student Cameron Smith, who told us about the score writing process for the composition of his most recent project.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
When it comes to the audio of a film, especially with the score writing, it was basically up to me to decide what would fit the visuals. The director of the film and the sound editor, he kind of knew in his head what he wanted, and then it had to get my ideas into it as well and develop his ideas. So it's mostly up to me to put it down into what would fit best for the film with the resources I have. But it is also up to the editor if he likes it or not too. I think music can be more important than the film sometimes, because I think that music on its own with a film, you can listen to the music and the soundtracks on the film on its own, but when you take the audio away from a film and you just look at the visuals, I don't think it works as well, to be honest. So I think music is more important, a lot more important.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
So obviously the mood is heavily reliant on the music in a film, whether that be a boost in tension or a sense of elation. Composer Bernard Herrmann did the score for the iconic shower scene in Psycho, against the wishes of Alfred Hitchcock, who wanted the scene to be silent. Skip forward 17 years, and the Bee Gees track littered the 70s classic film Saturday Night Fever, thus becoming the first example of cross-media marketing. But how important is music to a director? And at what point in the development process is the music discussed? Here's young filmmaker Katrina Stewart to tell us more.
That wasn't flying, that was falling with style.
I think music can really make or break a film. Obviously, if you watch deleted scenes or commentaries or whatever, and you see the scenes being done, or even outtakes and bloopers and stuff, the scene is completely different as opposed to if it had music on it, or the final cut version. Obviously, to set the scene and stuff, make you feel something maybe it's not translated through the actors themselves. Obviously, for montage scenes and stuff, you can create a feeling that might obviously not be there otherwise. Yeah, sometimes you can tell whether, a soundtrack or a score has been written for a film, but then sometimes you can tell when a film has been written for a particular soundtrack, collected one. Because I know sometimes when I'm listening to music or my iPod on the bus and stuff, I'll often make up scenes in my head and stuff, kind of sort of, don't want to sound cheesy, but inspired by a certain song, or even just the feel of an album. But yeah, sometimes I do that kind of almost unconsciously. Usually when I'm writing or thinking about writing something, I actually think about the music quite a lot because I think it's very important. But often sometimes once you've got the rough final edit, done, and you play it through, sometimes your music choice can change. My documentary that I did on the Banshee Labyrinth, so it was kind of, eerie and stuff. It was about banshees and stuff. And I originally planned to use just music from Final Cut, just wind blowing and stuff, all that. And there was one little soundtrack that I was going to use, but I thought it was last minute. It was in the morning before the screening. The screening was at 11 actually, and I just put the music on it at 9:30. It was Ryan Gosling's band. When you try something and it just fits perfectly. But it's kind of trial and error. Most times I kind of try a couple of songs, but usually the one I've had in mind first is usually the one that fits kind of best. Sometimes it does change. Just gotta try it.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Of course, the people who matter most to creators are film enthusiasts, fans, and the general public. I caught up with avid film admirer and movie blogger Nina Radovic, who gave us his opinion from a fan's perspective.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
I think if movies didn't have music, they wouldn't have the same effect. And scenes that are meant to invoke a sense of sadness, if there wasn't sort of sad, quiet music in the background, it might not make it as emotionally powerful. Or if there wasn't upbeat music during like an action scene, it wouldn't make it as exciting for the viewer. And in a horror film, without music, there would really be no tension, as the music usually builds up as it comes towards a scarier moment in the film. I think the music in Jurassic Park is really inspiring because it like gives you a sense of adventure, like when they're flying towards the island and there's like ominous music. It like really draws you into the film and makes you excited to like see what's on the island. And like I think with films like that, with like Steven Spielberg's films, if he didn't put those sort of songs in, they wouldn't become as instantly recognisable. Like nearly every one of Spielberg's films, like the sort of soundtrack's recognisable, like E.T. or Saving Private Ryan's pretty well known as well in Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, like everybody always knows his soundtrack and they always kind of fit well with the film, so as soon as you hear them you know exactly the sort of movie we're talking about. I think that if a film has a recognisable song, it usually means the film's already pretty well known. Like Indiana Jones or Star Wars, as soon as somebody hums out that tune or something, everybody instantly recognises it's Star Wars. It's just another way to recognise the film. Like if you saw a photo of Darth Vader, you would know it's Star Wars because he's the main character. So if you didn't have recognisable things from a film, then nobody would really remember them. So without music that makes you want to remember the film, then the film usually doesn't get remembered that well, I'd say. Most films that are really popular have a song that everybody knows.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
So it'd be fair to say that the importance of music in film is still up for debate. Whilst our composer sees the music to be the most important component of any film, our blogger sees the tracks as just another reason to remember already memorable films. The truth, we suspect, is somewhere in between, but one thing cannot be disputed. Both music and films, separately and collectively, are timeless.